And if they had any particular successes at the show this year?
Yes, Frank won his class, Archer won his class, and their mother also got runner-up best of breed.
Well, they certainly are very sweet. And you were just telling me that they're actually all related.
Yes, so we have father with son and daughter and uncle.
Well, it certainly is a family affair here at the Ekka. I know that's the case for a number of our exhibitors, Lindsay and Peter. What else have we got happening in the Grand Parade today?
Well, we have just welcomed in for their first day out the Rural Ambassadors of Queensland. Now, there's many of them to introduce you to. They represent 11 subchambers from across the state, but I can tell you that from Cairns Show Society this year, representing North Queensland, Mariah Chesser is here. She's got a wonderful relationship with the stud cattle section of the Townsville show. She volunteers, she's a big part of the cattle industry, and she's studying a Bachelor of Business. We also welcome in Hayden Pratt from the Gympie Show Society. He is representing the near North Coast. He's got a real love of the Show Society, and he has since birth. He's a young man who is treasurer of the Gympie Show Society, has a long history of stewarding and judging in the cattle section. He's a third generation beef producer as well. We'll introduce each of them to you throughout the afternoon.
Absolutely. Well, we have one other representative too, of course, and this one comes from the Bowen Show Society, representing the subchamber of West Moreton and Brisbane Valley, and this is Elizabeth Bowen. And Elizabeth has been a familiar face in the cattle sections, where she's been involved in shows across southern Queensland as a steward since she was 9. Wonderful record there. In more recent years, she's actually become a judge at several shows, including at Gatton and Woolloombilla. She has a strong interest in beef cattle. She shows her own cattle. She's also teaching the next generation about showing cattle. And isn't that so good to have mentors to our young people? She runs her own cattle club for 12 to 18-year-olds. More recently, Lizzie has been working with family members to learn more about growing hay and fodder. So great to have you here with us, representing the Bowen Show Society, Lizzie Bowen.
Well, we've just welcomed in dairy cattle, 6 different breeds on display here. What a proud industry it is too. I can see one of my favourite breeds out there, the Brown Swiss. Now, most historians agree that the Brown Swiss are the oldest of all of the dairy breeds. They're the beautiful brown cows that you see out there, and as their name suggests, they were developed in Switzerland. And they actually say that some of the bones of these Swiss cows can be found back to 4000 BC. They are about 7 million across the world, which ranks them, there is a debate, either first or second in terms of the most populous breed of cattle for the dairy section in the world.
It's a heck of a lot, whether it's over 7 million or under 7 million. But of course we also have out there those wonderful Jersey cattle, for which we're so familiar with here in Australia. Their lovely colour, their lovely golden colour, their big doughy eyes, originally from the English Channel Island of Jersey, just a few kilometres from the coast of France, where strict breeding laws still exist on the island. The Jerseys were first brought to Australia in 1829 from the Norman mainland in France, and are now the second most common breed in Australia. Whilst they're the smallest dairy breed, these cows, Jerseys, may give over 10 times their own weight in milk per lactation. Wow, how good is that? They're wonderful milkers, our Jerseys, so very popular. They have a wonderful temperament as well. And as I say, with their big, doleful eyes, you can't help but fall in love with our Jerseys.
Well, another little island that's responsible for a beautiful breed of dairy cow is the island of Guernsey, and that's also in the English Channel. In fact, the only breed still on that island is allowed to be the Guernsey, and they are known for delivering almost a golden coloured milk. We've got our very popular Holstein Friesians out there too, Peter. In Australia, there's 1.4 million of them, and they make up about 83% of Australia's dairy herd. And then, of course, we have...
They're the big black and white ones out there, aren't they?
Big black and white ones.
Holstein Friesians.
And the Illawarras we developed here in Australia, in the Illawarra, near Wollongong. And the Ayrshires, they're out here from southwest Scotland. and first arrived in Australia in around the 1850s. But speaking of dairy animals, we mentioned we have dairy goats down there. Emma Irene, you're with Pocahontas.
Indeed I am. I couldn't help but noticing Pocahontas because she has a absolutely fabulous costume on. Some beautiful fairy wings, a little flower garland, and I'm here with Pocahontas's owners. What's your name?
Leslie McDowell.
Leslie McDowell, can you tell me about Pocahontas? Has she had any significant wins in the competition so far?
She missed her last Ekka because it wasn't winning, so this year is in her 1 year and 2 year class. So hopefully she might get a ribbon, and she hit it, and she's got just one beautiful little goat hands.
And that's the little one you're holding down there, I guess. Is that right?
No, actually
Oh.
not. This is one of triplets, but this one's mother's in the competition as well.
How wonderful. And this lovely lady I know designed Pocahontas' beautiful costume. What's your name?
Juanita.
Juanita, can you tell me about this fabulous outfit? I think Pocahontas should be in fashions on the field.
Well, if there was a goat section, she would be. I did design this for my own goats as Joy Bell's show coat, and so I brought it down to lend to her cousins for today's grand parade. So that's what they're doing. They're borrowing the show coat.
How lovely, and what an excellent show coat it is. Thank you so much, Pocahontas.
Well, we're off to the sheep now, Emma Irene, and we've got a lot of great schools here. We've got about 120 school sheep out at the moment, and we do ask you to not make too much noise in the stands. Obviously, livestock in here, we want to keep everyone safe. No clapping, please, or cheering. It's intense enough for these animals to be around the sights, the sounds, and a bunch of different animals they probably don't want to be too up close to. But we have the Scots PGC school here from Warwick with their Texel sheep, and those sheep originate from north of Holland, and of course they arrived out here not so long ago, only in 1993, but are certainly having an impact due to their high meat yield and the leanness in the prime lamb industry.
And Lindsay Galby, SHS, have presented here the White Suffolk. Now this is an Australian breed of meat sheep developed for Australian conditions. In the two, we had our wonderful Suffolks who served us so well for many years. They were basically white-bodied sheep with a black face and black legs, but now we have developed the White Suffolk. Our work commenced on a breeding program in the mid-1970s, an experimentation conducted by Professor E. Roberts from the University of New South Wales. His aim was to produce a breed with a conformation, structure